Today's video I'm in a completely different setting. I've like the bookshelf background, so it must be what time it is. Time for me to film what I read in September and October. So we'll start, they're not in a specific order, but one of the ones I read was The Puppy Who Was Left Behind. Anna is excited to spend a week on her grandparents' channel boat, and the best thing is she'll be bringing her puppy, Fred. She can't wait to take him for long walks along the towpath and have fun playing on the deck. But the boat is a small space for a lively pup, and soon Fred is in trouble with everyone. Anna is heartbroken when the grown-ups decide that Fred would be better off at home, and so is Fred. He's desperate to stay and will do anything to avoid being separated from his beloved Anna. I found it quite sad at times. It was a really sad book at times. Fred disappeared. Then everyone was there looking for Fred. And then there's Fred there, so... But it ends happy, so it was kind of sad at times. I nearly did cry, and I'm nearly crying just thinking about it. I don't know why I got emotional over a book. I don't really get it, as that doesn't normally happen. So, I just need to sort myself out when reading this. But it is quite a good book. I've read it so many times, you can tell by the condition of the book, if it's well loved. I'm just sort of turning around to put them back on the shelf because it's quite difficult. So if I do have quite a weird angle, then sorry. This is not the best angled video. So I'm just going to sort of sit in this position here. Lost in the Storm was next. Ella loves her kitten Fluff and worries about her going missing again, but Fluff enjoys the freedom of being outside. Especially when it starts snowing and she has the pretty snowflakes to play with and lots of wintry garden to explore. But suddenly a blizzard sets in and Fluff can't find her way home. Will Ella ever be reunited with her kitten? There are some sad bits in this book, and there's some happy ending, which is good, and they rescue a kitten as well. I do really like this book. I'll show you my favourite page, because this is a really good bit. This is one of my favourite pages, because I like the picture, but not really. It's one of my favourite ones. I really do enjoy reading it, so it's quite good. Another one I read, Sky the Unwanted Kitten. This one was quite sad for quite a bit of the book until quite the end. Lucy is unhappy about having to move home and leave all her friends behind. Her parents hope that a cat might help her settle in. So they surprise her with Sky, a gorgeous Siamese kitten. Lucy falls in love with Sky, but she's still upset with her parents and pretends that she's not interested in the kitten. Poor Sky is left feeling confused and alone. Why doesn't Lucy like her? So it's quite sad because, to be honest, I'd not really want to move somewhere totally new. I do struggle to move somewhere totally new, I really do. So that's kind of school. Then I'll find somewhere else. There's Lucy and the kitten. Then that is quite... Then it finally happily ends, so I'm kind of glad, but it's quite a sad story. I would recommend it if you want to, but it's quite sad in fact this kitten is quite unwanted, and it's just really sad. I'd suggest you read it. And this is the next one. The Lost Puppy. This one actually does make me a bit sad at times because this puppy just gets lost. Like, a lot of these are quite sad at times. Like, you don't read any of these books without there being like a sad point. What I've noticed, you don't read them without any book having like a sad point. Ruby is thrilled when her Auntie Nellie's dachshund has puppies, and her parents have a wonderful surprise. She is going to keep one. Ruby knows straight away who to pick, the gorgeous puppy she's already named Toby. Ruby loves playing with Toby and can't wait to take him for proper walks. They have such fun, but on an outing in the woods, Toby's curious nature gets in the better of him, and he runs off in search of adventure. Soon he's lost, frightened, all alone. Will he ever be reunited with Ruby? I'll show you that. There. That is, this one I find this one actually is quite heartwarming, I will be honest. Like, it is actually quite a nice book to read. Like, it's such a nice to see book like this, where also Toby getting on. It's just quite a heartwarming book. It's really hard to explain, this one. Right, then I've got some newer ones, like these two I'm going to introduce on their own. Like two complete new ones. We have the Seaside Puppy, which is Laura knows she's lucky to live by the sea at the holiday cottages where her mum works, but it would be even better if she had a dog to play with on the beach and take for walks along the cliff. Then some guests arrive with their beautiful King Charles Spaniel Henry. Laura notices the puppy's owners are always leaving him behind when they go out. Poor Henry seems bored and lonely, so Laura decides to show him how exciting the seaside can be. Soon the pair are inseparable, but what will happen when it's time for Laura and me to say goodbye? In the end, Laura does end up keeping, because they sort of realise how, like, selfish they are to get a puppy just before they go off to university. Like, it is kind of sad because you can tell the owner does want the puppy but knows she's going off to uni, so that is kind of sad. Like, really sad. Like, just really sad. Like, this book does end quite happy in the end, but it's still quite sad. Like, this is quite a sad book. I'm sorry if the explanations are not very brief. I keep waffling for no good reason in this video, so. Next is the Scruffy Puppy. Bella has always dreamed of getting her own dog, and Sid, the little puppy with the mad frizzy ears, has always dreamed of the perfect home. Sid loves living with Bella, and she adores playing with him, but then Bella's friend starts being mean about Sid. Can Bella prove to everyone there's more to Sid, to her Scruffy Puppy, than meets the eye? This is definitely a spin-off for another one I'm going to mention. Like, there's all the books you can see. Because one, there's about Redlands Shelter, animal shelter where Sid comes from, so it's kind of a spin-off book. I do like it because it sort of shows the natural reality of friends. Like, you make up, you fall out, but ultimately you're going to be there for each other. So, like, this literally happens, but that kind of shows the reality of what it's like at school. You're not going to get on with everybody. So I did like it because it just shows like a more natural book, like a more natural side to Friends in a way, which I don't think I've ever read much in books. So it was quite nice to read. Like, I did really enjoy them. These are quite new, along with some of the others on the shelf. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Alfie All Alone. This one's quite sad because I'll read you the bit. It's not Alfie's fault, it's just we haven't been able to look after Alfie properly. Evie, her mum said shakily, we all love him, but he needs proper walks, loads of attention. He hasn't been getting that. Dogs get very grumpy if they're cooped up in the house all day. We'll walk him more, Evie cried, every day, twice a day. I've just been taken up with having Sam around, that's all. We all have, her dad agreed. But it's not for an Alfie. He needs a home where he doesn't get forgotten about. I didn't mean to, Evie whined so loudly that Alfie woke up. Popped up the table, making them all giggle hopelessly. He gave them a doggy smile, showing lots of a long pink tongue. What was the joke? Then looked again, turning to sniff at Evie. Maybe this wasn't a joke after all. Something felt wrong. Had he done something bad again? He hunched down on to Evie's lap, looking scared. Evie, look at him. He's upset. It's not fair to put him through that. His mum said gently. Evie sniffed. If we're not going to keep him, what are we going to do with him? Are we going to give him back to Mrs. Wilson? She gulped, imagining Alfie sitting in the puppy room, all on his own. His brother and sisters already gone to new homes. So that's quite sad. Literally. Evie is overjoyed when she is given her own puppy, Alfie. Alfie adores Evie. He loves to be cuddled, sleeps on her bed, and welcomes her home from school every day with a wag of the tail. But it's not long before another new member of the family arrives, Evie's baby brother Sam. Suddenly no one has much time to look after Alfie, let alone play with him and take him for walks, and soon he finds himself unwanted and alone. Yeah. It sort of shows the reality of having a dog and a baby. Like, you start with the dog, you give it all its attention, baby comes along, baby gets attention, dog doesn't really understand, so I think it's kind of sad when they forget to feed him. Like, you can see the sad picture. So it's kind of what I do like, to be honest. I know I talk about these books very vaguely, but it's trying not to spoil it as well. So it's just like one of those things. Alfie All Alone was actually last month. So it was actually a summer one, like one I did in my last one, but I just forgot. Voice going. This is the kitten nobody wanted. It's so sad. Like, you can sort of see what it's like when you just lose a cat and how hard it can be to get over it, and how you then fall in love, don't think you're ready to have it, and then you sort of get it in the end. When Maya loses her beloved Sandy, she can't ever imagine having a cat again. Sandy was the best cat in the world, and she never wants to forget him. Then her best friend Emily's cat has kittens, and Maya knows she can't put off seeing them forever. Smallest, shyest kitten is white and fluffy, and Maya names him Whiskers. Everyone can see that Maya and Whiskers are perfect for each other, but is Maya ready to give him a home? Like, you can sort of tell, like, is she ready, is she not ready to give him a home? Like, that's all the kittens. So it's kind of like that, are you ready, are you not sort of thing, like, are you ready to give this cat a home or not? But you can sort of tell a cat don't really understand, like, the whole thing, and they just sort of want a home. So it's quite sad, but But these are kind of like similar, very similar. Another one I read is Smudge the Stolen Kitten. This one was sad because I didn't really like the fact that the kitten got stolen. Oliver is delighted when her family adopt a beautiful little kitten. She can't wait to show Smudge off to her friends, and neither can her older brother Ben. When Ben invites his naughty friend Rob round for tea, Oliver is worried the boys will upset Smudge. Her fears come true when later that evening Smudge is nowhere to be found. Could Rob have anything to do with Smudge's disappearance, and where's the helpless kitten? I'm not going to say too much. Like, I would say read the book, it is good. But I don't want to spoil it in case you do read the book, so you'll have to read it to find out. Now we've made it to the spin-off book. Like, there is so many in this one. This is a spin-off book, the book that this one is spin-off for, so you can see they look similar. When Zoe helps out at her Auntie Jo's animal shelter, which is Redland's animal shelter, she's caught up in an emergency straight away. 3 tiny puppies have been abandoned on the doorstep and need nursing back to health, especially the littlest pup, Cookie. Zoe knows she can't have a puppy of her own, but as the days go by, she becomes more and more attached to the puppies and loves Cookie best of all. How will she cope when it's time for Cookie to be rehomed? This is another one I'm not going to spoil too much because there are like questions, so I'm not saying too much. It is a good book, suggest you read it. Those are the puppies that get abandoned. I would say it's quite a spin-off to this one in a way. Like, this one's the spin-off version of this one, so I reckon they're quite similar. Sort of thing, like this is a continuation on, just with a different dog. So you sort of see what rehoming is like in like these two. So, and now sort of see like one that tries to be really affectionate but knows that they may not get home, so they just give up. One where they were abandoned and then find homes. So you sort of get like 2 sides of the story of what it's like in an animal shelter in a way, so I'd suggest you read it. I'd read both. I'd read this one first, then this one second. The next one is The Missing Kitten. Like, this really portrays what it's like to have a kitten what it's like when your kitten goes missing. Like, it's actually very funny, this book. Scarlett and Jackson were walking halfway to school, walking down the footpath alongside of the big field which was planted with green wheat. Scarlett hadn't known what it was, but Dad had told her. "Can you hear that mule?" Scarlett asked suddenly. And Jackson turned round to stare at her. "Don't be silly, come on." "No, I can, I really can. It's Bootle, I'm sure." Scarlett peered along the track behind them and laughed. "It is, look." Bootle's running after them, mewing happily. Scarlett crouched down to say hello, climbed up onto her lap, and sat there, purring wearily. He had had to run faster than he ever had done before to catch up. "What's he doing here?" Jackson shook. "Yes, you're very clever, Bootle," he admitted, running one hand down the little ginger kitten's back. "But now we have to take you back home, and we're going to be late." "Oh, do we have to take him back?" Scarlett said sadly. Jackson rolled his eyes. "Yes, of course we do." "We can't take a cat to school, Scarlett." "I suppose so." "And we have to run because we're going to be late." Scarlett swallowed anxiously. She didn't want to be late and have to go in after everyone else and explain what had happened. They hurried back down the footpath, across the lane before bursting through the front door. Dad came out of his office looking worried. "What's happened? Why are you back?" "I knew I should have gone with you." "Don't worry, Dad, it's fine." Scarlett held her arm full of a purring ginger kitten. "Bootle just followed us, and he caught up with us. We're going past the big field." the one with the wheat in it, we have to bring him back. She put Bootle in Dad's arms. And that was quite funny. Scarlett is excited about moving to the countryside, especially as it means she will finally get a pet. She chooses Bootle, a ginger kitten with 4 white socks, and 2 of them become inseparable. Then Scarlett has to start at her new school. Bootle tries to follow Scarlett to school each day. But when there's a downpour, he gets lost. How will Scarlett be able to find him when she has no idea where he could? This is so funny. Like, this is really funny. Like, I really do. Like, out of all the books, I'd suggest you read this one because it's so funny. Like, the headmistress emits. You're going to have to find out what she emits. And what her dog does, you're going to have to find out because it's so funny. Next is Ginger the Stray Kitten. Like, I found this one sort of like kind of sad that the farm gets destroyed. But I guess at least it shows like never giving up. Like, never giving up at all. Rosie loves visiting the stray cats that live on the farm near her grand's house. Her favourite is a tiny kitten who she calls Ginger, because the gorgeous colour of his fur. At first Ginger is very shy, then he learns to trust Rosie. But when the farm is sold to developers, the builders start work. The little kitten is terrified with the other cats disappeared and he's all alone. Suddenly the world is very scary. And you're going to have to find out because I suggest you read them. Like all of the ones I suggested you read, you're going to have to read to find out because I'm not telling you. So a lot of these you're going to have to read yourself. Another one is Max the Missing Puppy. Molly is over the moon when she's given a gorgeous old English sheepdog puppy. Max pins for Molly when she's at school and longs for her to come home and play, so when he spies an open window, one day he sets off to find her. But the world is a scary place for a puppy of his own, and soon Max is lost and in danger. Will he ever find Molly? You're going to have to read this to find out if you're going to find Molly. Like, most of this is you need to read it because this is kind of what...
Spell the mum.
But it is good. Like, all of these I'm suggesting are good, but I don't want to spoil it, so I'm sort of not really sharing a lot. And also there's so many. So I kind of do need to speed up a little bit. So I'm just going to get the ones I need. These are like the next ones I've read. Like this whole pile's the next ones to go. The Frightened Kitten.
Spell
Those are like the 2 ginger tomcats.
No, mum.
And about sort of what it's like when a friend moves away. Like, it's quite a good book.
Mum.
I don't see.
Mum.
What is your mother's name?
Mum.
I don't see Mom in your contacts. What is your mother's first and last name? Mouth. M-O.
That is Siri. Like, literally, Siri, do you not get the point?
Month. M-O-N-T-H.
Mandy is determined to prove the perfect home for a beautiful tortoiseshell kitten. Biscuit. She spends all her time with the new arrival and playing and giving her cuddles. She's sure the lively kitten will love exploring the garden too. Before long, Biscuit is old enough to go outside, but little does she know that the neighbours' 2 big tomcats see their garden as their territory. Together, the mean cats do their best to scare off. Soon, poor Biscuit is too terrified to go out and spends most of her time hidden away. Will she ever find a way to help the kitten? And you're gonna have to... Oh, these are just some of the pictures I'm gonna show you. That is sweet. Like, that's really sweet. Like, this is quite a good book to read. It sort of shows what it's like when a friend moves away and how sad it can be. And I do agree, it is quite sad. Don't know why I'm getting so emotional. Next one is The Secret Puppy. And that's kind of like some of the pictures. And when Daisy arrives at the farm campsite where her family are spending the holidays, she knows she's going to have the best time ever, especially when she finds out the farm dog has just had puppies. Daisy can't help falling in love with one puppy in particular, who she secretly names Bonnie. Soon the pair are inseparable. And as the end of the holiday draws nearer, Daisy can't bear the thought of leaving the puppy behind. No, she knows all along she'll never be able to keep Barney. How will Daisy ever bring herself to say goodbye? That's the end picture, but that's all I'm going to show you. Like, you are going to have to read it and find out. Next is Just the Lonely Puppy. When Chloe's brother Will breaks his leg, he's stuck in hospital for weeks. Mum and Dad are frantic, and there's no one to look after the family's lively border collie puppy Jess. Jess is miserable and lonely, and so is Chloe, but Chloe doesn't really like dogs, and Jess only wants Will. Can the two ever become friends? That's the end picture. That's Will when he accident. That's Chloe trying to cheer up Jess. Thunder. Jess does get into troubles, one thing I will say quite a bit. Like, Jess does quite a few naughty things. But you'll have to read and find out what they are. You'll have to find out if they'll become friends, though. Next is Harry the Homeless Puppy. This is quite sad. Like, this is quite a sad book. Grace can't have a dog of her own, but she loves walking the ones at the local animal shelter. Especially Harry, the cutest little Jack Russell puppy. Harry looks forward to Grace's visit. Soon the two are best friends, but then Harry is rehomed. Grace knows that she should be happy. Harry now has a home of his own, but she misses him terribly, and poor Harry doesn't understand at all where his beloved Grace has gone, so... Next is Timmy in Trouble. Katie can't believe it when her parents agree that she can have a puppy. And when she sees the lively Timmy, she's sure her family will fall in love with him just as she has. But her sister Jess is worried about how Misty the cat will react to the new arrival. Katie thinks they'll get used to each other. But things don't go as planned. Every time Timmy tries to play with Misty, upsets her and gets into trouble. Timmy is so sad. Why doesn't Misty want to be friends? And you'll have to find out, because... Like, that's the picture. So, those are kind of the books. So, we are kind of getting through quite a few. So, I've been reading Emerald Star recently, but it's upstairs, so I'm just sort of... It's by Jacqueline Wilson. It's sort of based on an orphan child that knows they have parents, but is trying to find them. Sort of like Annie in a way, if you've ever watched Annie. And basically Emerald Star, basically Hetty Feather if you watched it on TV. So that's a little bit about the book. Another one I've read is The Worst Things About My Sister. Marty and her big sister Melissa can't be more different, and they just don't get along. Marty is a messy tomboy and loves animals, snuggling up in her cozy comfy den. Drawing her comics, especially her favourite character is brilliant Marty Mart. So, living with the pink, girly, super annoying Melissa has never been easy, but things are about to get much worse when Mum's new dressmaking business takes off. She needs a spare room in the house to use for her sewing. For the first time ever, Marty and Melissa have to share a room, and the girls are soon fighting every single day. But when an everyday argument goes horribly wrong, will Marty realise just how her big sister really means to her? So this sort of is like with the natural kind of relationship as sisters, like you fall out, you make up, you fall out, but ultimately you will be there for each other. And sometimes arguments do go wrong, so it kind of shows that side. And my final one, which I'm currently reading, is The Secret Garden. So I love this. Like, this is the film companion to The Secret Garden, so I've been like really enjoying it. Like, I've nearly finished it. I'm gonna finish it on a vlog later today, so when I've filmed my videos. So this is basically what I've been reading. It's basically the film companion, so it's like quite a classic, but I'm not going to spoil it in case you haven't read the book or watched the film, so that is basically that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it wasn't very explanations weren't good. I hope you read the book. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to Slick Jumped Over Lazy Dog. We're trying to reach 100 subscribers. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.